if you want to become a remote closer and you want to close deals, earn commissions, make a ton of money in that role, one thing you have to get really, really good at is the transition. And when I say the transition, I mean transitioning from your discovery to your pitch. Time and time again, I see closers when they do this transition, it's always this jarring moment for the prospect, almost like this back to reality moment, because what they do is they go from this intimate, deep conversation talking about their pain, their fears, their worries, their desires, their goals, their struggles, what they've tried to get there, why it's failed. They have this, it's a really fruitful conversation. And then the closer kind of just goes, okay, cool. Are you ready for me to pitch you now? Hey, can I tell you what we do? Can I tell you how I can help? And they immediately just kind of jar that prospect into this, hey, I'm a reminder, I'm here to sell you something mode. And prospects usually just shut down because of this. They usually feel like, oh, was the conversation disingenuous? They usually feel like this is now becoming super salesy. It usually makes prospects kind of just shut off and not really pay attention and not really listen and kind of tune out as the closer goes on this 5 to 10 minute monologue about the product and service in this general way that doesn't really interest them in actually moving forward. And I promise you, if you can transition cleanly, if you can transition properly, which is what we're going to talk about in a second here, you will close a lot more deals. You will have prospects paying way more attention. It won't feel salesy. The prospect will actually want you to hear your pitch. And the goal is you need to make the pitch feel like the logical next step rather than a closing of the conversation of discovery and just like this random jump into this next thing, which is, oh yeah, now I'm just going to pitch you as the salesperson. I'm putting my sales hat on. Right. And the way I like to do it is I like to, again, make everything feel naturally like the logical next step in the sequence by asking the prospect certain questions that makes them lead the conversation to the point where I'm talking to them about how we can help and why it makes sense for us to work together if it does make sense. And the way I usually go about this is after I do my discovery, some of my favorite questions that I want to make sure that I ask at some point, usually at the end of discovery, is, are you in a place where you feel like you're ready to get help with this right now? Or do you want help with this right now? Simple, super, super simple question, right? And I need them to say yes, because getting into the pitch doesn't make sense if they're not in a place where they're ready to get help. Right? So I'm going to ask them, hey, do you feel like you're in a place where you're looking to get help with this right now? They just told me their pain. They just told me their goals. They just told me their desires. They just told me X, Y, and Z about what it is they're looking to do. Some people just like to talk about it. Not everyone is in a place where they're actually ready to do something about it. So I'm going to ask them, are you ready to do something about it? And you're going to say, yeah. But like, cool. Why is now the time? Why? I might ask that. I might not. Depends on the context. But either way, I need to spend a moment there making sure that they are ready to do something about this now. Are you in a place where you feel like you're ready to get help with this? Yeah, I feel like I'm ready to get help. Okay, cool. And then what I want to do when I'm entering my transition now is get clear on what it is we are helping with. This part is so major because time and time again, I see reps pitching a solution to a problem that they didn't really clarify with the prospect. And now there's this misalignment of what we're actually trying to solve here, especially when the prospect brings up multiple things. You didn't really clarify what the main pain point is. You didn't clarify what the main problem that's actually going to get them to the goal is. And then you just pick something, or you just pitch your offer in a general way, and they don't really feel like it's exactly for them. And now there's just this misalignment of what it is we're actually doing here. And then they say, you know what? I got to think about it. I don't know if this is for me. And then now you want to spend 20, 30 minutes handling objections when that could just be avoided. So After I ask them if they're ready, I'm going to ask them if I can give my thoughts. And this is where we're going to get in alignment. So I'm going to say, cool, can I kind of give you my thoughts on your situation or what I think is going on here or what I think needs to get done here? They're going to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Then I'm going to give them my thoughts, and my thoughts are usually going to be along the lines of recapping, not recap. I don't like to call it a recap, but I like to more so let them know what it is from a high level they need to do to actually get their goals achieved, and then get their agreement to that. So I'm going to say something like, okay, prospect, it sounds like your real struggle mainly is this, and you've got this going for you. You've got this working out for you, but the real missing piece of the puzzle is this. And if you kind of had this kind of help or this kind of support or this kind of guidance, and you can plug that or you can fix that in this way, that's when I think XYZ goal will be unlocked for you. I think once you solve this one issue, this will work out, and then the rest will kind of make getting to XYZ goal really, really simple. Do you agree with that? What do you think? And obviously, I'm not using a specific example, so I'm just kind of filling in the blanks here, but you kind of probably get what I mean. I'm breaking down like, hey, this is the missing piece, and if you solve that missing piece, you'd be able to hit your goal, right? What do you think? And this is going to be a summary in a way that will showcase how well you've actually heard and understood them. Because if you can't boil down the whole discovery to, hey, this is what we need to do, and if we do it, you will hit your goals. If their response to that isn't, yeah, man, Ty, that's exactly what I need. You're right. Hey, if I just had that, if I just had that support, if I just had this thing, if I just achieved this, if I just changed this. No, absolutely. I agree. I definitely hit that goal. I really believe I'd be able to hit that goal. I think that goal would be inevitable given XYZ amount of time. If you don't get a response like that, you haven't done a good discovery. Plain and simple. That is the moment where you guys get into agreement, because it's huge. Because going into the pitch based on solving this one core thing, them already giving you that yes, that once I solve it, the goal is going to be achieved, is huge, because now the pitch is all about how we're going to solve that one thing that they already said is exactly what's needed and the core thing of what's needed to achieve their goals. So it is so important that you get this right. So I'm going to, let them know, hey, once we get this one thing, we got it, right? They're going to be like, yeah, awesome. If they're like, possibly, I guess, like, you have to be really, it's more about how they're saying it than exactly what they're saying. If they're like, yeah, I think if I solve that, I should be good. Call it out right there. There's no need to pitch. Do not go into the pitch until it's a resounding hell yeah. Like, if I that's what I need, right? I'm going to call it out and be like, well, yeah, talk to me. It doesn't sound like that's exactly what you need. What do you think's missing here? And we're going to continue that discovery until we can get into agreement on what it is needs to be solved. Because what are we pitching for? What are we pitching towards? We need it to be very direct. We need to be very, very clear. So once you get that, yeah, this is what I need, it's clear, then I'm going to say, cool. Well, in that case, that's my favorite line. It's like, well, in that case, because based on in that case to me is like, well, based on what you said needs to happen, the logical next step is XYZ, right? That's why I like to say, cool. Well, in that case, let's do this. Well, in that case, what do you think about this? Well, in that case, let's move in this direction. So I asked them, hey, this is what needs to get done in order for you to hit your goals. What do you think? They're like, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I mean, in that case, we actually specialize in X, Y, and Z. And if you'd like, I can break down what it would look like for us to work with you, or for us to help you, or to get our support, however you want to say it. I can walk you through what it would look like for us to kind of support you in that, so you can solve that and you can get to XYZ goal. What do you think? Or would you like to hear that? Again, whatever language you want to use. At the end of the day, you're asking them if they're looking for help now. Yeah, cool. This is the kind of help I think you need. This is what I think you need to get done. And if you get that stuff done, if you plug these gaps, if you get that in, the goal will get hit. Do you agree? Yeah, you agree to that too? Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's what we specialize in. I could kind of walk you through A to Z what it might look like to work with us in order to plug that gap that you said needs to get plugged in order to hit the goal. What do you think? Yeah, how can we plug the gap? Yeah, what does it look like with you guys? What have they just done? They just asked me to pitch them. Instead of me going like, okay, cool, well, that's all my questions. I can tell you how I'd help. I can tell you how I can help if you'd like. They'd be like, okay, cool. All right. Yes, they're still saying yes. Yes, they're still saying okay to the pitch, but it's so abrupt and it's so cut off that you're just like, okay, cool. Well, what we do is, or a lot of people that say, okay, cool. Well, now I'll tell you what we'll do. What we do is X, Y, and Z. It's just so abrupt that it kind of just doesn't give them any time. That's why I call it the transition. It doesn't give them any time to kind of transition into the idea of getting help. Instead of just being like, okay, cool. Thanks. I understand your goals now. I understand your pain now. Now I'll tell you what we'll do. And they go, oh, okay. Yeah. So what do? You got your pen and paper ready? Okay, cool. Instead, I'm going to say, cool. This is where you're struggling. This is your goals. This is what you want to achieve. Timelines, all that stuff. Do you feel like you're in a place where you're ready to get help with that now? Yeah. Okay. Why do you think now is the time to really start moving towards this? Cool. Do you feel like, you'll be able to hit your timeline if you start this now, whatever? Okay, cool. So you are ready to get help with this now. Can I give you kind of my thoughts? Yeah, cool. Well, the type of help I think you need is XYZ. Another question I ask sometimes as well is, what type of help do you think you need in order to get to XYZ? Some people will be like, I don't know. That's why I'm here. Some people will be like, I think I really need, hand holding. I think I really need someone to give me a strategy. I think I really need this. That's another really powerful question. But again, then I'll say, hey, this is the type of help that I think you need. And I think if you get it, you'll hit XYZ goal. What do you think? Yes. They're giving me multiple yeses now. Yeah, I'm ready. This is the help I need. Yeah, I agree. That's what I need. Yeah, let me know how you guys help. Now I'm pitching. Now I'm saying, cool. Well, first thing we need to do together is X. And I have a whole nother video on how exactly I pitch that goes in conjunction with this. So, just for the sake of this video not being like 25 minutes, I won't get into exactly how I pitch in this one. You could just type in pitch on the channel and you can see exactly how I pitch in conjunction with this. But that transition, getting into your pitch in that way, opening it up in that way, again, will make people so much more receptive. You'll get less objections. They'll be more attentive. They'll put their guard up less, and you will close more deals. Hopefully that helps. See you guys in the next one.